Okay, Trisha, thank you for submitting your work. I've got the front of your Bob Dylan poster up, so let's go and take a look. Okay, in terms of typography, I think everything is looking pretty good. Your kerning is excellent. Nice job. Really, really good attention to detail here. Using a nice visible face, and then good job adding variety by using a combination of sans serif for the title and then serif for the tagline. That's fantastic. One of the things I think that a couple of things we want to look at here. The tagline and Bob Dylan's okay. That's a pretty bold typeface, which makes it very aggressive. You might reconsider that because if you take a look at the work and the work of Bob Dylan, it was not aggressive work at all. It was actually pretty laid back, pretty mellow, and his writing was powerful, but not in an aggressive way. So you might think about that, reflecting that in your type. Um, so you know what? Let me just grab something here. Okay. So yeah, so you might reconsider that. Okay, then we also have over here, we've got the guitar strings, the 6 strings. I think this is a little overdone with the gradient in there. I think just 6 strings indicates guitar strings, or enough to the point where it will spark the viewer's curiosity so that if you use the guitar strings on the back of the poster, it'll make sense. And that's like a really interesting technique that we use in design sometimes. And I call it an aha moment, where you introduce something that, and then define it later. So introducing these 6 vertical lines, and then it doesn't make much sense right now, but then we turn it over and you've used it to assemble, I don't know, the timeline or something like that. And then in that regard, the viewer has this aha moment where they go, oh, that's why those 6 lines were on the front. They're guitar strings. And that kind of ties things together and gives the viewer a sense of satisfaction, like almost like, oh God, I figured it out. Cool. So that's a very interesting technique. And I think that's one that I would recommend not using this gradient. I think it's a little overkill. Also, you've done a good job with this visual substitution, replacing the A with the guitar pick. But my only problem is that, well, there's a couple of issues with this. Is number one, it doesn't really look like an A. If one is not familiar with Bob Dylan, I mean, this could quite conceivably be misconstrued as Bob Dylan, Dylon. I'm wondering if you inverted the guitar pick to make it more shaped like an A. That might do it. My other comment regarding this visual substitution is, I'm looking at this, and a lot of my comments are geared towards your portfolio and how will this look, especially how will this look to a portfolio reviewer, and more importantly, how will it look to a potential hiring professional when that time comes? Should this piece make it to your final student portfolio? In that regard, I don't think this is really great execution, and the reason being is this. All you've done is you've played, and I don't mean to sound discouraging, but basically what you've done here is you've placed an illustration of a guitar pick, and it looks like you did a cutout filter on it, or did some sort of outlines in Illustrator, or a cutout filter in Photoshop. The point is that it's an altered image, and I think sometimes hiring professionals will look at something like this and go, well, why didn't this student maybe draw the guitar pick themselves, or maybe even just use a shape to depict the guitar pick? Do you see what I'm saying? Instead of just placing an image, I think that points more to creativity. So I would reconsider that. Also, the word Fender is really, really adding. You're adding a lot of meaning here with the word Fender. Now, one of the reasons why I say that is because did Bob Dylan use Fender guitars? Number one, that's the first most important thing. And number two, did he use Fender guitar picks? And number three, were Fender guitar picks even around when Bob Dylan was at the time he won this prize? Well, actually, you know what? He didn't win the literature until I think 2018 or something like that, or 2017. So guitar pick would have been around, but still, we still have the historicism of saying, did Bob Dylan actually use a Fender pick? And if not, then it doesn't point to good research. Do you understand what I'm saying? Can you see the relevance there of that comment? And again, I don't mean to sound discouraging at all. Um, So before I'm going to switch gears again, but before I was talking about this type being pretty aggressive, this type is really aggressive too, and it's in a the reason is because this is in a what seems to be a bold typeface. I don't recommend placing a type in bold, especially as a title, because I think it just adds a certain amount of aggression to it. I think the guitar, the strings are riding right up against the serif of that A. I would move those back a little bit, make sure that A is in alignment with the D, which it is. The A has got a little serif. The D is flat. It's got that flat stem, right? That flat vertical stem. So my recommendation is just to nudge that over a little bit. It's an optical illusion, making it appear as though the A isn't in alignment. So if we nudge that over just so that serif exceeds that left margin created by the D, it'll bring it back. It's an optical illusion, and one that sometimes we have to address with letters that are on a diagonal or with a extended serif. I think the background's interesting. I love that the contrast, or I should say the continuation of vertical lines from the guitar pick. I think that's really interesting. And then the starburst in the middle, I think, is really interesting as well, because it adds a lot of connotative meaning. So I think that's fantastic. So those are my recommendations. If you have any questions, or if I can clarify anything, please let me know. But okay, so that's on to the back of the poster. Let's go ahead and make your you're a little bit close in some of your kerning here. I see the serifs are touching in American, and I mean, that's okay, but I would address we're a little bit inconsistent here in the kerning, especially in the word American. Let me see. Songwriter's good. The word and is okay, although that space between N and D is a little wide. That looks good, but right through here, the space between the I and the C and the A and the N can all be tightened up just a little bit. Okay, all right, so anyways, like I said, any questions, comments, concerns, or if I can provide any clarifications, please just feel free to let me know. All right, great, thank you very much.